So, white people now realize that, let me not say white people, magas for Trump, magas for the orange man. They now realize that he actually dumped them first. They now realize that he actually left them first. So now they are not saying if this man has actually dumped us, abandoned us, and not fulfilled all the promises that he has made to us, what is the point of still remaining here? See, I will still keep saying it. The God of black folks, the God of black Americans, the God that always come through for black people and always rub shame in the faces of those that think that black people are nothing is actually going to be speaking up. I want you guys to watch this video of diehard Magas fan and see reasons why they are living in droves. They are moving. They are making another rousy decisions. If you watch, let me know what you think in the comment section. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sonia. If this is the first time tuning in, subscribe, like, comment, and share. Credit belongs to the original creators of every clip and stitches we have in our today's episode. And guys, with that being said, let's dive right into this video. I will be back with commentaries.
I try and help people to understand what it's like to leave a cult and how to help them, have a bridge where they can come out of there and have people to talk to and learn from and feel like they have a safer space so that they can deconstruct and be able to hear what we're saying. I thought it would be good to share with you the reasons that people are leaving from over there, because the left has a lot of sweeping generalizations and assumptions about the right and who they are and what they're doing and the reasons that they leave. And I thought that it would be good if I actually told you a lot of the reasons that they've told me or that you've told me or that I've had in videos, screenshots, etc. So I thought I was going to give you like 10 or 12, and I have almost 50, and I'm sure I have forgotten some. So if you remember some I forgot, please add them there, or if you have one I didn't write down, please add that there as well. Okay, so Epstein, simply saying that there were no files. Making fun of people that still believed in it, like when he's like, oh my gosh, you still believe in that? You're so stupid. That really lost a lot of people. Saying that it was a hoax, lost people. The tariffs, when people realized how they actually worked, yeah, he lost people. Seeing Trump get rich, and they're not getting richer or getting more money, and all of a sudden he has a ton of Bitcoin and money. Yeah, no. The Charlie Kirk Memorial being a political rally, big time hit to Trump. The way Jessica Kirk acted at the funeral had people wake up and say, wait a minute, what is going on? And that had them start investigating things behind the scenes. Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson and the way that they're talking about Israel, Charlie Kirk, it just has them awake to Israel and Gaza. A lot of them didn't even know what was going on in Gaza. What Trump said at the memorial when he said that he hated his enemies and he wished them the worst, that caused people to leave. Trump immediately blaming the left when CK was hit and not even there being an investigation, they did not like that. How immigration is being handled. They don't like these guys walking around in masks. They don't like the images that they're seeing. They saw that Trump was lying about the violence in the blue cities, when he was saying, oh, there's all these gangs and there's violence and so we have to send the National Guard in there. And yet they saw us out there dancing and singing and holding candles and being our usual selves. They realized that he was lying. Using the National Guard when you're seeing these emergencies and they're out there mulching, taking selfies and doing dances with people. Clearly there was not an emergency. Things don't feel any better or different than Biden. Well, they feel worse, but they were saying, like, what's any different? Like, this is the same. They act like there's going to be this big change, and there's not. He's acting like a dictator. They don't like that. concerns about Social Security. When originally Doge was throwing that around, that scared people. They didn't get a Doge check. That small percentage that really believed in that, they didn't get one, and that was upsetting because they thought that they were going to get some help, and they didn't get it. His mental decline. There's like, this is not the same guy 16 years ago. He's not all that coherent. That is concerning. Elon's salute. That first day, you had Maga leave, and they contacted me, and that's how I know. So we've been having conversations ever since. That Gaza AI video where Trump had the statues and acted like it was going to be this Las Vegas over there, that upset a lot of people, and they said, no, thank you. Maybe he's the Antichrist. Saying that Gaza would be a resort destination, that America was just going to take it over. Not okay with them. That recent Grim Reaper video of Russell Vought being the Grim Reaper, saying hide your babies, that was a few days ago. Yeah, that literally had people say, I'm going to show up at the No Kings rally. The mass firings that we had at the beginning of the year and that we continue to have, not okay. Believing that Trump is run by Israel. They think he's bought and paid for or controlled some way by Israel, so they don't trust him or the rest of the administration. And that's where a lot of them are. They're very stuck. They don't know where to turn, who to trust, and that's why I think it's important to give them some space to be able to figure this out, and that's what I've been trying to do with people, and it's very successful. He hasn't ended any wars. They said he was going to end all of them in 24 hours. No, not happened. The military parade. Didn't like the military parade. They felt like he was trying to be like Kim Jong-un or something like there, and they saw how cringy and how uncomfortable the military was, and that made them go, oh, no, no, no. A lot of them do not like JD, Peter Thiel, and that whole gang. Creeps them out. They don't want them next in line. And if Trump picked them and has them around, they don't like it. Makes Trump untrustworthy. People losing benefits. Now, while a lot of them haven't gotten letters yet, some have, and it has them scared to death. They didn't hear about that on Fox News, did they? When he attacked Iran, people started burning their stuff. Tax on tips and overtime was not what he promised at all, and a lot of people were counting on that. The way he and Pete Hegseth talked to the military, a lot of veterans did not like that at all. RFK and the whole, we're going to figure out autism, and then it's Tylenol. And then some of the stuff like that happened in Florida where they're like, no one needs vaccines, you don't have to get them. They're like, no, we would like the vaccines, thank you. Feeling the heat of the higher prices and not knowing how they're going to cover their bills. There's panic there. The overall feeling like they were lied to. And I understand people go, oh, that's what you voted for. That is not what they saw in their algorithms. That's not what they saw from Fox News. They still don't know what Project 2025 is, half of them. Family and friends finally breaking through to them. Just meeting people from the left and realizing they have some of the same beliefs. Like I saw someone saying they had a party and some the people they didn't know, and some people were from the left, and they got to talking, and she realized, oh my gosh, I have a lot of the same beliefs. I just didn't realize that. So she became open to those conversations. The feeling that we are intentionally being divided by Israel, by a lot of people in the administration, certainly Trump, and the elite. Stephen Miller's crazy speech at the memorial had people saying Antichrist, Nazi, scary, evil, dark energy. The Jimmy Kimmel free speech situation, did not like that. Caring more about the tech bros and getting their attention and their money more than, and over caring about them and what's going on with them. Going back and forth on the tariffs. Like, if they're great, then why didn't you just put them in? You change every day, you take it back, you lower them, you hire them. Like, what is going on? Looking weak and clueless with Putin. The way he talked to Zelensky in the office, they found very off-putting and embarrassing. saying how he was going to take over Greenland and Canada and Panama Canal and all that stuff was just weird. And why would you fight with people you're at peace with? And it was like, they're like, he's just doing too much and he's just acting out of control. People that have dealt with narcissistic abuse are waking up and going, oh, this is narcissistic abuse, and it's snapping them out of it. And people that are waking up in their own religious cults, and when they wake up to that, they recognize, oh, and I'm in another cult called Maga. So there is 47 reasons right there that aren't just they're feeling the pain. This is very complicated. They are very cut off from the world that you think that they see. So I'm going to continue to get on here and teach about cults and be the bridge between the two, because if the left thinks they can do this all by themselves, I just don't understand what they think the future is going to look like, because these people aren't going to evaporate, and they need help and they need education, and we have that to offer them. And when people have done it with me kindly, it's really helped me so much, and I've always been grateful for that, and I'll always.
MAGA commentator Ben Shapiro just called out Donald Trump and his family for their corruption live on his show. When you lose Ben Shapiro, you know something's wrong. Take a look.
That many of the organizations that Donald Trump Jr. is connected to are making an enormous amount of money during this period of time when his father is president, which raises awkward questions, certainly, about Trump administration policy, ranging from Trump meme coin to World Liberty Financial to gigantic real estate deals in Qatar. None of this is an amazingly good look. This administration is doing too many important, I'll say it again, this administration is doing too many important things to be bogged down with conversations about how members of the Trump family or the Witkoff family or any of the other families surrounding the administration are making bank while President Trump is president in countries that President Trump is attempting to negotiate with. That is not a good thing. At the very least, it is not a useful thing.
Now, that is a pretty scathing takedown of the Trump administration and their business deals and Trump's cryptocurrency and the plane he's getting from Qatar, all of this nonsense that Trump and his family are engaging in. Like, things are so bad and so blatant that even right-wing commentators like Ben Shapiro, who swear by Donald Trump, are calling him out for it. Here's what I know for a fact. If a Democrat did anything even close to what Donald Trump has done in terms of enriching his family, Republicans would be on Fox News right now calling for their removal, their impeachment, their prosecution. But since it's Donald Trump, it's silent. Not a peep from any of these elected Republicans. And to Ben Shapiro's credit, he actually is calling out Donald Trump for this. But yeah, as I said, when you lose Ben Shapiro, you know something.
I'm getting a lot of people saying, don't criticize the people who are leaving MAGA. They were deceived. Just be glad that they're leaving. Don't make them feel more guilty. Yeah, no, sorry, friend. They have to be held accountable or they're gonna do it again. Cause that's what history has shown us. If people are only going to leave MAGA because they're guaranteed a set of open arms, then they're not leaving for the right reason. And they're not gonna be a help. They will actually be a harm. We need people who are ready and willing to take accountability and be humble and be responsible about their actions. We have learned from not holding the Confederates responsible and from Project Paperclip and so much more that if we do not hold these people accountable, it will come back to bite us hard. That's literally why we're in this mess. You want blanket forgiveness? Go find Jesus. But what these people did was not a simple mistake. They didn't just drop a cookie tray. Because of their actions, people are getting literally unalived, snatched from the street, and children are getting zip-tied. Marginalized groups are losing their freedoms, and we are watching our country turn into 1940s Germany. Sorry, you gotta go sit in the corner for a moment. I can't let you sit at my table without recognizing the harm you perpetuated to so many people. Because those people are sitting at my table and I have to keep them safe. Their safety matters more than their comfort. And I'm not letting them near them until they tell me that they feel safe. We do not have the luxury to be skipping in a field singing Kumbaya. If you ever voted for Trump, you have very serious problems with selfishness and bigotry. And that is based on what he campaigned for in all 3 of his presidential campaigns. You can't claim to be deceived when 75 million Americans were not deceived. This was not some hidden agenda. It was actually presented very clearly.
While I still have plenty of videos and screenshots to show you of people leaving MAGA, I wanted to show you this content creator who has a sock account, and she goes over to the MAGA side of TikTok and she gets the vibes of what's going on and checks out the conversations. And like I've said, there's factions over there that are breaking. And she talks about the different groups that are leaving and why that she's been able to pick up the last few days. But it's nice to hear another content creator who actually goes in there and is saying, yeah, this is happening. So this is like a 5-minute video she's going to play, and she's going to go over all of them. So I want you to listen to her and then follow her. But also, she does another video today that I wasn't going to attach. It was too long. But basically saying she's starting to see the purple revolution mentioned over there. Because here's the thing. Whether you agree with how this is all starting or going, there are people that are actively leaving the right. They are disenfranchised. They don't trust them. But when you leave a cult, you don't know where to go. And you go into a no man's land. And those are the people that we can bring into the purple revolution right now. That's why it is such a critical time to do this. Because this is what we've been waiting for, where there's enough of them that are saying, I don't trust Trump, but I also don't know where to go, because they are taught to hate us. You know, I was talking to Brian about that and how he's just like, when I snapped out of it, it was like, I didn't even physically know where I was. It's like, because I said, it's like coming off a drug. He goes, it is. Like, I didn't even feel like I knew my surroundings. That I just went, oh my gosh, my life has been a lie. And he's still processing through it. And that's what these people are doing. They're waking up that way. But it doesn't mean that they're ready to run to the left, because they have been trained to be afraid of them and be scared of them and to attack. You know, we had a long talk about that this morning. It was really interesting to hear him. And I've asked him to share more about that with you. And he's working with someone through that. Anyway, so it was really exciting to see that that was being mentioned over there, that it is breaking through over there. Because the way I look at this is like a car is on fire, the car being our country. And if we want to wait till we get every little single thing lined up so that we all feel like everything feels a certain way, that's just not reality. That's not life. Like, this movement is completely inclusive. We want everybody involved. And the people on the right realize that the administration is crap. They just don't know where else to go. And usually it is they go to a different cult, they unalive, or they meet people that want to do better and are willing to have conversations. And that's where we're at. So these are a lot of people that we can bring in, because we need the numbers. We need the numbers to put out this fire. And then we can talk about a lot of things afterwards. And, you know, it's very different to have a conversation after you've all united and worked on a project together and gotten to know each other, than to talk policies and things that you want to work out, versus ahead of time when you don't know anybody and all you know is propaganda and hostility, and you've both been trained to hate each other. That's hard to get to very productive places, not to mention we don't have the administration. So we really can't do anything right now. So putting out a fire together collectively actually can do a lot of good and help us learn from each other and help us deprogram each other from the ways that we need to be deprogrammed. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and play this video, and I hope that you will follow her.
Afternoon, folks. I have a Maga sock account here, and this is your bonus update from the other side. My video from this morning is blowing up, and so this is a follow-on because I ran out of time in that one. So I promised you in that video that I would share with you the 3/4 groups that I see leaving MAGA, and I would share with you why they're leaving MAGA, because they're all distinct, and this is very real. This is legitimate people. As always, read the caption though. As I tell you about these 3 groups, I want you to keep in mind there's 2 main reasons why these groups even formed and are starting to leave the movement. One of them is the epiphiles. People have not forgotten about that. They're wondering where the F they are and why they haven't been released. Number 2 was Charlie Kirk's memorial and the handling around the investigation. So those 2 events/things have caused 3/4 groups to form, and there is some overlap between some of the groups. And what I see in my FYP, this first group is really kind of standing on its own. And this is the real Christians. The real Christians. Some of them, I would argue, have always seen through what 47 is doing and Christian nationalism, infiltrating their faith and their faith being used as a weapon. There are that segment of people, I see those videos. And then there's a segment of people who woke up because of those two things that I mentioned in the beginning, right? They are realizing, especially the memorial, how their faith was used as a political weapon, and that man's memorial was turned into a political rally. And they also are realizing now that a lot of the policies that are being enacted by this administration do not align with their faith or with what Jesus would practice and preach. These are the folks that are really heavy into using the word discernment to distinguish, good and evil, and idolatry and all of these things. So I think in this case, when I'm seeing that word being used, it's really focused on the right thing, like actually getting back to the Bible, really leaning into their faith for understanding what's going on around them, and then realigning themselves with actual teachings of Christianity. Disclaimer, I am not a person of faith, so don't ask me questions about the Bible. I will not be able to answer them for you. The second group of people feel betrayed, again, because of the administration's handling of CK's memorial. So this group is specifically just not buying the narrative. They're not buying the forensic evidence of the pew and how all of, angles and damage impact and the cover up afterwards. A lot of Candace Owens and what she is saying plays into this group heavily. So they are just now distrusting the administration. And I would say there's some overlap with people who maybe not necessarily are diehard Christians, but are definitely disturbed by what they saw at the memorial too. And that last group has a little bit of overlap with the third group, which is the outright conspiracy theorists that have always been down that path. This group is, listening to Candace Owens. So they're making a lot of connections, right or wrong, true or not true. I'm not here to say, I don't know, this all allegedly, that BBN, had something to do with Charlie's untimely ends. And they're the ones that are saying some disturbing things, like now that they're actually realizing the magnitude of the G-side in the watermelon land, they're making some really awful analogies and drawing conclusions about the entire Jewish people, the entire Jewish community, which we know is not okay. If you look back at my video Thursday, I talk about that about halfway through. Like, there's some very alarming discussions happening. Even my video from yesterday, look in those comments about maybe QAnon making another rise up. This great awakening is apparently a dog whistle for the alt-right. I'm glad to be ignorant of some things, and that was something I was ignorant of until yesterday in my own comment section. So thank you all for educating me about how that's an old QAnon dog whistle. Yeah, and that last group is like the Great Awakening people, the people who are having these weird videos. I can't really determine what camp they're falling into. I do think some of them are saying that they've woken up and that they're awake, and they're not necessarily saying the Great Awakening. So there is some nuance here, but definitely be aware of this language. Be aware of the potential dog whistles. Be aware of consuming content that could push you in that direction, unseemingly, unknowingly, unawares. That's how it happens, okay? I am not an expert on that stuff, so please do your own research. I'm going to do some more of my own research after yesterday's post because I know I learned a lot. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend. It'll be okay somehow. And thanks for being here. Good afternoon.
We're going to eventually leave MAGA. They're going to turn to their close ones. And I want our allies out there, I want to really implore them to not give up on their friends and family who are in MAGA, because I and the other testimonials at our site, which people can find at leavingmaga.org, we're living proof that it's possible to leave. And I'm wagering a bet that as we see what's going on in the country, there are going to be more and more Trump voters, and in particular MAGA supporters, who are going to start to question their support. I think, what's it going to take, Adam? I think it's an individual question for each person It's going to be one unnecessary death too many. It's going to be another lie too many. It's going to be another defiance of a court order too many. It will be another illegal deportation too many. And I think that right now there are many who are quietly doubting. So we want our organization to be a place where they can come, feel welcome, without judgment, without ostracization.
A lot of people who leave MAGA say, we were deceived by Trump. No, you weren't. Honey, if there is one thing we can say about Trump is that he's quite consistent. He told you exactly who he was. You just didn't care until it affected you. And look, I'm not saying that to be cruel or mean or to rub your face in it. I'm saying that as somebody who genuinely wants to see progress and see our country heal. But the only way to do that is there has to be actual accountability, and you have to lean hard into humility. 75 million Americans voted for Kamala. 75 million Americans warned you on how bad it was going to be. And BT Dubs, we were right. But you kept saying that we were fear-mongering, exaggerating. Oh, you just don't understand him. He's joking. Well, now his sense of humor has brought us dangerously close to 1940s Germany. Ha ha ha, so funny. Even Germany was warning you all, going, why are you flirting with fascism? But nothing got through to you. Trump didn't just show you who he was by how he campaigned for his second term. He showed you who he was in his first term, how he campaigned for his first term, how he acted while Obama was president. In the early parts of his campaign for his first term, he mocked a disabled reporter and you didn't care. How was that not the end? You weren't deceived. He told you who he was, you just didn't care. Because you thought you were going to be safe. And because of that, you have to sit in shame for a while. There's no way around that. It's the only way to ensure that this doesn't happen again. The United States has learned this lesson the hard way. We didn't hold the Confederates accountable. We didn't even hold the brown shirts accountable. In the 1950s, the United States government hired scientists that used to work for the tiny mustache man. We allowed these people into our government. So for generations, we've been letting this fester. Look, I'm happy you all left. I am happy you are here. But there is no way in heck we are allowing you to have any leadership positions within the movement for change. You have proven that you currently do not have the ability to make good decisions. You're washing dishes there, friend, and you're gonna be happy about it. Look, I'm all about the redemption arc and making space for you to do better, but part of that change is you taking the time to actively clean out that infection of, bigotry and selfishness and anti-intellectualism that you've got real baked in there. So no, any of this "we were deceived" is not welcome here.
Good news right now, a lot of MAGA supporters are having their wives deported. If you don't know, there's a pretty common trend among some MAGA men that they marry women from other countries. You might have heard the term passport bro. Could be country in Europe or Asia, but overall they are getting wives from other countries because American women don't like them. I've heard of multiple reports, specifically in Fresno, California, which is a pretty conservative agricultural town where I happen to have been born, that people there are being deported. One of these couples, the wife is from France, and her 87-year-old mother is living here as well. They're both being deported despite the red MAGA hats they wear outside every single day. This has been happening a lot in California, Texas, and Florida among MAGA couples. And of course, they never thought that it was going to happen to them because they only thought it would happen to black and brown immigrants. But yes, they are actively being taken out of the country, sobbing with their red MAGA hats on. And that's the thing about this administration. They do not give a fuck about tearing families apart, even people that have been good citizens. And I do really feel for the poor grandmother who's almost 90 years old that's going to have to start a new life. But at least some of these people are learning what happens when you vote for an authoritarian because they do not care about you individually, even if you...
In follow-up to my earlier post, I have a question for all of you guys. Who do you think is going to leave the Trump administration first? Or as I like to call them, the Trump regime. Before I tell you who I think is, it should also be of note that word is Curtis Yarvin, who's one of the architects behind everything that's going on with this administration, this regime, all the bad actors. Curtis Yarvin is expressing lately that he thinks they're blowing it. He thinks the whole plan, they didn't think it out right and it's going to fail. And word is he wants to leave. He wants to leave the country because he doesn't feel so safe. There's Peter Thiel and all these other people that, are in the background and don't want you to know who they are. But Curtis Yarvin, He was the guy they were all relying on early on and said he's the one with the great master plan. And apparently he doesn't have much confidence lately. And as I said earlier, I think Trump is a wannabe dictator and it ain't going to work out for him. And I think the administration is going to start falling apart. And I think one of the first people to go is going to be Marco Rubio. They're going to come up with some excuse. He is going to come up with an excuse. But I think he's going to be the first to leave. Because I think the others are wretched people. I think Pam Bondi is a creature. They have no soul. Stephen Miller, all these people, they'll all hang around. Whiskey Pete Hegseth, you know, they're nasty characters. They'll get theirs later on down the road when a new administration takes over and charges are brought against all of them. But yeah, I think that I'm putting my money on the first one to leave this administration is going to be Marco Rubio. Who do you think? Please like and share this video. It's very important. Get it around, spread the word, let people know what's going on here with people like Yarvin and others. I appreciate it. Comment, give me your opinions, but definitely let me know who you think is going to leave the administration.
For Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, the conflict behind the government shutdown is personal. Typically a MAGA loyalist, she's broken with the GOP over concerns that her children's health care premiums will double next year.
2 out of the 3 have aged out of being on my insurance. And so you're seeing me being a mom who's frankly really pissed off at a lot of the failures that I think come from decades of both parties.
She's getting at the core point Democrats have been making. ACA marketplace subsidies expire at the end of the year. Democrats want to negotiate extensions before they'll vote to reopen the government. As many as 22 million Americans could see their premiums spike by an average 114% without an extension of the subsidies put in place during the Biden administration.
If they expire at the end of the year, what happens to your health insurance premiums?
They will double, it looks like.
Leanne Safford and her husband now pay $278 a month for their health care premiums through the Affordable Care Act marketplace. Their plight? Common. According to one analysis, for an individual making $35,000 a year, the annual premium would jump by more than $1,500. A family of 4 making $75,000, their increase would be more than $3,300. For Leanne and millions of others, sticker shock is now setting in as notices come out this month outlining.
So Donald Trump's government shutdown is backfiring very quickly. He and Mike Johnson have been trying to blame the whole thing on the Democrats because they are supposedly trying to give free health care to undocumented immigrants. But that's been debunked hundreds of times. Even Mike Johnson had that horseshit shut down to his face by George Stephanopoulos. There is nothing in that legislation to fund the government that proposes giving free health care to undocumented immigrants. It's not a thing. But even the Republican voters are starting to get pissed because they're now losing their jobs too, like we said they were going to. As well as the fact that the farmers are now going bankrupt and Trump is tanking the economy. And we said it was only a matter of time before they felt it too. If you saw Trump's Turd Social today, he openly admitted that the reason the soybean farmers need to be bailed out is because of his shitty tariffs, because now China is buying soybeans from elsewhere. I'm sure you've seen the videos of them on social media talking out loud like they're praying to Trump because they think he's the second coming of Jesus, going, "Oh, Donald Trump, President Trump, please bring down our gas prices. Please give me back my job, Donald Trump." They still somehow think he actually gives a shit about them. And as Marjorie Taylor Greene correctly pointed it out on Twitter, the Republicans have the votes in Congress by themselves to stop the shutdown. But they don't want to because Trump wants to use it as an excuse to fire thousands more people that he doesn't like and hide from the Jeffrey Epstein files. But the Republicans and Trump are getting blamed for this shutdown, as they should be, because they currently control all 3 branches of government. And the last time we had a government shutdown with the same party controlling all of the government was Trump's first administration. Yet I still go out in public and see people wearing dumb shit like this. Because nothing says follower of Jesus like excitedly shooting people, while also wearing their ball cap with Patriot written on it 50 times, while they fully support a treasonous, narcissistic con man fraud. The projection's hilarious.
Joe Rogan has abandoned Trump and abandoned ICE. Joe Rogan on his show said that the people in ICE have no hearts, and that if you can watch this sort of stuff and you're in support of it, all of the just the illegal detaining of brown people and tackling mothers and ripping children away from their parents and zip tying naked children, all that stuff, shooting pastors in the face with pepper balls and spraying chemical agents into crowds of peaceful protesters and violating constitutional rights. Joe Rogan has abandoned abandoned ship. Granted, Joe Rogan is the reason why this is happening, so fuck you, Joe Rogan. No, we don't forgive you, you fucking troglodyte. But I just wanted everyone who supports Donald Trump to know that one by one, all of your influencers are going to abandon you, and then you're going to stand alone, and you guys will live a life of pretending that you never supported this in the first place, because that's what fascists do. They crawl back under the rocks that they crawled out of when the Fuhrer gave them the shining light of hope, right? So you're all going to crawl back under your rocks. You're all going to live the pathetic lives that you lived beforehand. But I have a whole new YouTube video covering this, covering the cruelty of ICE, covering Joe Rogan abandoning you all. Go check it out. It's on YouTube, full-length video.
Trump people are done with your bullshit Benny Hill clown show. They are done in this country with you and Hegseth and Pam Bondi and Stephen Miller and Kash Patel and Kristi Noem and all of your band of idiots. We have had enough. Even your MAGA people have had enough of your bullshit, and the farmers are starting to smell your shit from a mile away, man. You have fucked them over. You have fucked them over there on your bullshit tariffs. Soybean prices. We lost $30 billion in revenue to China, to Brazil and Argentina, shipping their goods to China. You want to give a $10 billion bailout? We don't even get to square one with that, you sorry bastard. We deserve so much more from our federal government. People deserve more from this country. What you've done to immigrants right now is just downright shameful. People that have just come looking for a dream, looking for a chance, wanting to change the world. You are separating them from their families, and you are putting little children in zip ties. I mean, it's just disgusting. We deserve more, but people are catching on. And every day your bullshit chaos is your distraction from even scratching at the surface of the Epstein files, from scratching at the surface of the money you and your family are stealing. You are horrible fucking people, and you will rue this day. Next election, people will vote, they will come out in droves, and they will create change in America. It's happening now. People need to keep going forward, keep the faith, keep pushing back, keep raging against this horrible machine. We will not go down into this autocracy that Trump wants. We will fight for democracy at all costs. At all costs. We deserve so much more from this country. We deserve so much more from our leaders. I want everybody to be out there listening. Keep the faith and keep working hard. We deserve more.
Trump has now forgiven over $1.3 billion in debts owed to victims of white-collar crime using his pardon power. I'm Liz Oyer, the former pardon attorney for the Department of Justice. Donald Trump has been granting pardons to people who have defrauded and cheated others to get rich. The pardons have the effect of wiping out the legal obligation to repay the debt. Many of these people owe millions of dollars to their victims. They include Trevor Milton, who stole over $600 million from investors in his business. The Chrisleys, who owe over $22 million to banks that they defrauded. Michelle Fiore, who stole money from a police memorial fund and used it for plastic surgery. And Paul Walsack, who skimmed money off the top of his employees' paychecks and used it to buy a multi-million-dollar yacht. I'm keeping tabs on all of these. The full list is posted on my Substack. You can find it at lawyeroyer.com. Some of you have asked if this is unusual. Yes, it is unprecedented in our history. Pardons are usually reserved for people who have paid their debts to society and shown remorse for their crime. How do we know that? Well, there's a long-standing rule book published by the Department of Justice called the Justice Manual that actually says that. It's available online. You can review it yourself. I know some of you will ask, what about Biden's pardons? Joe Biden did not use the pardon power to wipe out debts owed to victims of crimes. I'll have more details on that in my next post. In the meantime, you can subscribe to my Substack to learn more.
Who I'm talking to in this video, okay? It's just, I feel like I'm screaming into the fucking void, because if I hear another Republican get on national television and tell some bullshit about how the Dems are the one that shut down the government because they're holding out for subsidies for trans people and illegal aliens. Oh my. The reason that the Democrats refused to sign, to concede basically, which was shocking for everyone involved, is that they are holding out because they want the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, subsidies, Those subsidies are set to expire at the end of this year. What are these subsidies? Who gives a shit? Well, I'll tell you who. 20 million people in America across the entire political spectrum. So what the Democrats are doing, they're not just protecting the Democrats. They are protecting anyone who has Affordable Care Act. Okay. And what is the subsidy? So the subsidy basically said that, like, look, your premium can't be over 8.5% of your income. I'll give you an example. Like, let's say Bob and Shirley, right? They make $65,000 a year. Without the subsidy, okay, their premiums would be like $1,200 to $1,400. And with the subsidy, they're about $400. So what happens if overnight your premiums go up several hundred to several thousand%? I'll tell you what happens. Millions and millions and millions of people fall off of their health insurance, and then what happens? They die because they don't get the medical care that they need. So that is why the Democrats won't agree. That's why they wouldn't agree and sign it and let it go through, because they're saying, no. We want to protect those people, and you guys should want that too. More than that, the Democrats are the ones that not only stayed, but are staying in Washington to try to have to negotiate a deal. But what happened? Mike Johnson, he adjourned them early because Adelita Grijalva, they didn't want to swear her in, okay? She's a Democrat in New Mexico, I believe, who was just elected to the House of Reps. And her, once she's sworn in, she will be the 218th vote that will push that release of the Epstein files to the floor of the House, where everyone will have to vote yes or no, like in a very public way, in a way that's never happened before. Okay? They're not about to have that happen. So what did Mike do? He boom, slammed the gavel down, and he adjourned them early. Republicans, they ran away from their jobs. All right, they're still getting a paycheck, not the other federal workers, but they're still getting a paycheck. Okay, so they ran away from their jobs. They refused to swear in a newly and duly elected House of Rep member, okay, a congresswoman, Adelita Grijalva, to avoid releasing the Epstein files. If there was any discussion that was to be had, it wouldn't have happened because they left early. Yet they're out here telling y'all that the Democrats are shutting it down so that they can give free medical care to trans people and illegal immigrants. Guys, that is a federal law. They have no access to that. That is an absolute red herring. Go look it up. Snopes, any other place. That's a fucking lie. They're lying to y'all. They're playing in your face because they think that whatever they tell y'all, you believe it. You don't ask any questions. All right. So I just wanted to clarify because no, the federal government is not shut down because of the Democrats. And it's that the Democrats are trying to hold the line to protect the American people, not Democrats, the American people. All right. And the Republicans are trying to fuck them over.
Sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry if I'm laughing so hard. Sonia, please be serious. Let's be serious. I'm tearing up and laughing because realizing they now knew, they now realize, they're now coming into conclusion that this man actually dumped us first. Why do we need to still be with him? This man actually promised us. He has never fulfilled any of his promise. This man literally is making his own family's wealth. He's making his own people rich. And we that we've been killing ourselves, we've been fighting, we've been striving, we've been shouting Magas for Trump. We've been praising and pushing out the music. I will vote. Vote Donald Trump. Hey. Nothing for us. Nothing. We are just here. We are just here. We are not going front. We are not going back. We are stuck in the middle of nowhere. And that is why these people now want to form the Purple Revolution. What am I saying? They've already formed it. The Purple Revolution. Because they have seen that literally every single thing they thought that was going to happen is not happening. And this is what you get when you vote out of your choice. This is what you get when people warn you and you don't want to listen. This is what you get when you have a father that is talking to you and you cannot literally sit down and understand what that particular father is saying. They said no matter how tall an Iroko tree is, it will never be taller than its own master. But no, These people do not want to understand. Now they are now realizing, they are coming into the F around and find out the hard way. And am I happy? Am I excited? I'm excited. I'm not only excited that they're leaving. For me, they should not leave. They should stay there. They should enjoy. They should be able to rapport. They should be able to grow. They should be able to fix what they have used their hand to destroy. Not where are they running to? The good part is, even if they run from east, west, north, and south, right now there is no solution to what they have already created. This man is not even ready to be impeached. This man will make sure he did his tenure from Genesis to Revelation. And let's just be honest. Did the orange man literally tell them that every single thing that he's doing right now, he is going to do it? Absolutely, yes. He has never lied to them. He has never told them that I am going to do this, and he did not do it. He told them every single thing he was going to do, but the mistake that they made, or what they were thinking, was that it was going to be affecting more of the black folks. They didn't know that their farms are going to be wiped off. They didn't know that they are going to be building more generational wealth for this man. They didn't know that at the end of the day, tariffs is going to hilt down to their own throats as well. They didn't know that at the end of the day, people that are working for them are going to be deported, and now they will be left with nobody to work for them. They didn't know that even the same ICE agents they are advocating and voting for will still come to their own face, affect them, rubbish them, and still whoop their axe. So right now that they are seeing all of those things coming to pass, they are now realizing and I said, oh, why do I need to vote for him? I wish I never voted for him. We wish we never took him into the seat. We wish we never sang a song for him. Remember that lady that sang, I will vote. Vote Donald Trump. That Asian lady, she has literally been coming to be crying every single time online. And every single time I see her video, I'm so happy. She's crying, she's weeping, she's wailing because you were told, you were informed, you were begged by black folks and said, let's choose this person. This is the right person that we should be going for. But no, they never accepted. They played this as politics, and now it is bouncing on their head. Just like the way we sang the song, I am bouncing in the Lord every day. Hey. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches will happen at today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share. And guys, with no further ado, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah. Mwah. My black people, we are still winning. We will continue to win. Okay? I love you guys.